stock of the day, it's a stock I pick, and big news today out of Myer. Olivia Wirth, former boss of Qantas loyalty business, and of course Qantas's chairman is Richard Goyder, the chair of the AFL Commission. So yes, it does qualify. I said a bit tenuously maybe. Olivia has been appointed to lead Myer as the department store's executive chair and chief executive, wrapped up into one big powerful job. Wirth, who was a key candidate to replace Alan Joyce at the top job at Qantas, announced her resignation from the airline in October last year. The appointment came alongside the company's latest half-year report, which showed a 3% decline in total sales for the first half to $1.8 billion and challenging macro trading conditions, quote unquote. Another restructure at Myer. Solomon Lew flexing his muscles, the existing chairman stepping off. Gary Wise stepping off as well, off the board of Myer. Philip, what did you make of the result and the changes?
Firstly, I think we need a video review on some of these these connections. This might be one. The stock was up nearly 7-8% early off what is a bad result versus PCP. Everything was down. Revenue was down. Earnings were down. Costs are up. I think it's a case of, and we've seen this in a few retailers, where people are bracing for sales to be down versus a strong prior comparable period. We've had interest rate rises, etc. And although they're down, they're just not as bad as analysts were predicting. And the outlook statement has been more positive than analysts were forecasting. So the first half result was down on PCP. You don't really get half-year consensus, but let's say it was a miss. But the first 6 weeks, like-for-like sales are up nearly 5%. So sales were flat for the first half. Department store sales were up about 1% overall over the period. So let's call it up 0 to 1%, so in line. But they've come out of the blocks for the second half at up 5% on like-for-like sales. That will be stronger than what most analysts are forecasting, given cost of living and interest rate increases and mortgage pressures, etc. So I think that's part of the surprise. I'm not sure that
it's had a good bounce in the last couple of months, hasn't it?
If you take the longer term chart, this is a fascinating company. It's been around for such a long time. It's been listed twice, and analysts still struggle to get their mind around why people go into bricks and mortar stores. I mean, I think now a third of their business, or 25% of their business, is online sales, which continue to grow despite
and that Myer One loyalty card is apparently going really well, which is Olivia Wirth's.
That's a specialty.
Specialty.
And Myer's one of those companies that's very good at mining their database, understanding who their customer is, and try and target their promotions to that particular customer. It took them a couple of goes to get it right, but they seem to have it right now. Plus, you've got some additions to the board, and plus you've got Solly flexing his muscles to make sure it's we're a long way gone from when this stock was back in the 30s. It's had a very good run. It's 20% above analyst price targets of around 70 cents, which I expect will be upgraded after today. I wouldn't chase it. It pays a good divvy yield, 6%. I would call it a hold, but this is one where analysts clearly chasing their tail, and I'll call it a hold.
So this isn't an AMP, which was an iconic brand of the past, but is just stuck in its lows and trying to restructure. By the look of the chart and the results.
Well, unlike AMP,
got a pulse.
They're trying to change and they're hiring the right people for the job. I mean,
re-engineering.
if they want to go into more into online sales, and that customer loyalty business is growing and is a really key part of their strategy going forward. And who better to bring on than someone Olivia, who ran a loyalty program? She seems to be extraordinarily highly regarded across that particular, not specifically the airline industry, but in that loyalty program sort of sector. Sort of best in the biz, and look, for her, I think Myers is improving. We've got Qantas obviously later on in the show. I think she chose wisely, resigning and then coming onto here. Look, I mean, it's still 25% below record highs, year highs even. Obviously, you've got most of the retail sector, really sitting at really nice highs, and record highs. So look, it's still lagging a bit. I think that's probably why I think it's a really positive announcement, the change in the board, and it looked really good because the numbers themselves, we had to read through 3 times because well, what the hell's it doing up 8% on this?
Yeah.
If that was just the result. So I think it's probably more so the change in management and focus.
Does it worry you having an executive chair / chief executive?
Not particularly, no.
Okay.
No, I mean, it could very well be an added bonus. I mean, I guess Solomon Lew potentially, he's giving it a fair bit of an advisory role, and I guess switching industries from airline to department store, maybe it's a positive because gets to get a hands dirty a little bit as well. I would have thought, but the results don't justify the move. But I think it's probably people were worried potentially about it, and things like Black Friday obviously eat into Myers as well. But it just seems to be every time you go into the store, they're almost renting out floor space to individual brands now instead of
department stores.
Yeah, and they're not having to manage that inventory.
Selling
risk.
some of their fashion labels as well, 3 fashion labels.
So
as part of they do. So what do you reckon?
I'd say the same as a hold at this stage.
Right.
I don't think I'll be buying it here. I mean, we're no longer even holding our favourites in the retail space like Wesfarmers, so this is probably pretty far down on the list for us. But look, hold it if you've got it for sure. It's got a pretty reasonable yield, an 11 PE, and I think you're right. I think there'll be analyst upgrades as well that sort of play a little bit of catch up. So yeah.
Solomon Lew, the biggest shareholder, bold move. Gary Wise, his mate, former corporate raider, steps off the board, and the existing chairman has only been there for 5 months, and he's gone. So
Didn't last long.
Yeah.
Solid.
Well, if you've got a better option, you've
Yeah.
got to do the right thing for the business. So.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit ruthless, but so la vie.
Yep. All right. Oh, gee, that was a really sympathetic tone. Gardner.
It's the game you play. It's the game you play.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you get paid the big bucks.